You're watching Poland Daily, Business Edition, and tonight we'll talk about foreign policy and its economic consequences. The President Donald Trump of the United States and the hereditary ruler of North Korea met last week in Vietnam, and the consequences of that will be probably some agreement with China on the business relationships between both countries, between China and the United States. And we'll talk about that with Jerzy Bielewicz, financial analyst. Sir, welcome to the show.
Good evening.
How do you think, will the end of March be the term when we will see the new business deal between the United States and the China People's Republic?
I think it should happen within 2 weeks, even earlier, from what I hear. And the expectations are huge. If there is a deal between China and the US, or the US and China, the financial markets expectations are huge, 10% increase on the stock market and good increase on the bond market as well, value of bonds, even high yield bonds. So expectations are huge, but for Europe it's good news and bad news at the same time, because if there is a deal between US and China, the next would be European Union and Germany, and automotive sector. On the Trump's table, there is this report on automotive sector and barriers that were created in Europe for American automotive products. So I would expect that tension and financial market should hold their breath, because there's still going to be trade negotiations. And just to compare, the trade between the US and European Union is about 100 billion euros greater than between US and China. So the trade negotiation between these two superpowers, economic superpowers, might have even greater influence on world economics.
Because the stakes are higher. To what extent Poland is vulnerable or exposed in this situation?
I think we can benefit from the situation. Surprise, surprise. Yes, we have an exposure automotive part sector, because we supply those parts to Germany. But we are still a low-cost producer. So if there is a tension, if, for example, there is a recession in Germany, we've got a recession in Italy already, yeah? If there are more trouble in European Union and Eurozone, then our market share would increase, because we are undercutting our competitors in prices. So it's not going to be bad for Poland, because we have here our own currency, and we can be beneficiary of this commotion.
And our labor costs are still low, energy costs are comparable. Let's rewind it a little bit and say, what are the terms of the deal with China? What China should do to get in terms with the United States?
What we hear, it's public information, it's Chinese promise to buy more goods from the States. It's a lot of goods worth $1.2 billion in 6 years, so it's a huge promise. It would, compared to what it is right now, it's $500 million, trade is $500 million annually from both sides together, yeah? So 200 more of goods bought by the US is quite a substantial, would change the balances, that's for sure. the key point is intellectual property, I think, in those negotiations, and so-called Chinese program, China 2024, because the U.S. company would not be able to compete with the state-owned company on the Chinese market if those state-owned companies are subsidized. So it's about high-tech, intellectual property, and other barriers, not only custom duties.
Do you think that it is possible that China will float the UN?
Again?
Do you think that it is possible that China will release the exchange rate of yuan?
It looks like it's floating right now. I would expect rather fixing US-China exchange rates, some mechanisms that it would be predictable. For China, the yuan appreciates recently, and on the other hand, President Donald Trump says that US dollar is too strong and US cannot compete with such a strong currency. So if they join together and there would be some deal between these two superpowers, they would probably include some mechanism for exchange rates.
So the Chinese, assuming that this deal will be done in 2-3 weeks, stepped back from their position taken last year. We know that Germany is very self-confident about their ability to compete with the United States. Do you think that this self-confidence will be there, say, in half a year?
I think we are witnessing right now very, very dynamic changes in, I would say, even a new world order. And I think it would be bipolar. One polar would be China and the other the United States. And other parties like Germany would have to pick the side. And I think in time, Germany and the European Union would play on the side of the United States.
We'll side with the United States because it's stronger and like more reliable partner than Russia or China, although we will see that in the near future.
But the deal between the US and China is very important for Poland because one of the, I would say, conflicting areas is South Pacific region, and kind of would be good for both sides if there is a land Silk Road through Poland, and the security on the Silk Road would be on the United States, as they are the strongest superpower. They would guarantee that you can trade on the Silk Road. We are ready to distribute Chinese goods throughout Europe. For example, our transportation sector is very, very strong, and we do 30% of transport within the European Union. So we are ready to distribute the Chinese goods. Not necessarily Chinese, because it can be produced by the companies that are controlled by the US capital.
Sir, thank you very much. Jerzy Bielewicz, financial analyst. That was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.